Okay, well, after quite a few months of not being able to work on this project, I started back up on it a few weeks ago. Had a hand surgery that I had to deal with, but that's working well. I could move my hand again. And bunch of work. I just could not get out of the workload. But now I'm back on it. I went and remolded the tires. Hold that right there. What's the before it had, you had to put in both of the hub pieces, and then it means you would seam around both sides. So I did a new master, and I have left and right tires. So now the side that's facing the chassis that you don't see is the only side that gets seamed. The other side you just have to paint, and it really cuts down on the work. There's 12 wheels on this thing, and I couldn't see doing all that seaming on wheels. I just have them soaking in a bath of degreaser because of the mold release I use. But the little guy's going like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a break. I'm going to rinse off all these parts and dry them, and then we'll come back and glue in the hubs and get them ready for seaming. We're going to do all 12 tires, 6 left and 6 right, and that is dictated by the tread, the way the tread penetrates the ground. So this is obviously a right tire, and then the left tire will have the tread going with the hub on that side. So off to the sink. Let's rinse it all. Oh, I'm just soaking them in this purple power stuff. It seems really good for taking off the mold release and letting paint stick to it, starting with a decent primer. I use polyester primer on my resin kits, and it seems to do a fairly decent job of hanging on to the resin, as long as you degrease it and make sure it's clean. Alright, so I'm going to stop the video and go rinse this off in the sink. Alright, so I've cleaned off all the parts with the degreaser, and now I'm going to have to clean the inside of it. Some of them have molding, little nubs in there we got to get rid of. So just like wear eye protection doing this because they fire across the room. And then I like to go in there and flatten that out with the Dremel tool. I love these like different carbide bits that you get from Robart. They do a wonderful job of taking down material. You know this little box that's right here, kind of overexposed so you can see the black tires, otherwise they'd be in shadow too much. This is my, I'm in my garage because you definitely don't want to do this in your house. I have a shop vac, a large shop vac, that is going to vacuum the dust particles. I will work right in front of here and grind these out and do all my dust clearing that way, because you do not want to be breathing this dust. So wear a dust mask too. That's usually a pretty good idea. When these were molded, also they have they already have the axle hole. There's a 16th inch axle that goes all the way through it and goes through the mold. You know, I'm going to stop and get the mold right now and show you what that looks like. This is I'm inserting a little video here of the mold for all the tires. Actually, it goes together pretty nice. Anyhow, here's the mold. These spheres, more like hemispheres, they don't hold the mold together. The mold is still put together between two clamps and clamped together to make sure that hydraulically, when it's filled in these two ports, that it doesn't push the sides of the molds apart. So there's an opening there, and you have all the little vent holes that go around the rim here. And when it's casted up, it is casted up with a axle that goes completely through the mold. So when you take it apart, the wheel already has a casting of the pin all the way through it. Anyway, I have to grind out this, so this area is flat. The hub is beveled. If we could do this, I'm watching a monitor, kind of doing backwards. This bevel engages this bevel here to hold the wheel flat. One of these I've already done. Here it is. And it just drops in there like that and kind of snaps in. So yeah. So all you have left to do is just fill this, or not. It's on the inside of the vehicle, so you really don't ever see it unless you're looking at it underneath. But there you go. So I got to grind out 11 more of these things. So I'm going to turn on the vacuum and start grinding. Alright, just when you thought we were done grinding, we're not. There's fill tabs all the way around the backside of this hub. Kind of see them, there they are. See those? Those have to be ground off. And I got this for Christmas and I haven't used it yet. It's a cordless Dremel tool, but it's a tiny one because I do a lot of tiny things. I have bigger cordless ones. This is 7.2 volts, so it's not super strong, but it's fine for just grinding this little stuff out. I'm using a small ball-ended burr, and I'll turn the vacuum back on and start cutting them. Well, even though we were fast forwarded through all that stuff, I did actually find out that I had 3 short fills on these tires. It must be from the original run that I was doing before I put a couple extra vent holes near the center of the hub. But these all have really deep air pocket voids. So when I thought the mold was filled, it wasn't. So, you know, this could be saved if I want to do a lot of Bondo work, but I'll put it off to the side. Maybe I'll just use it for the one that I'm building. But yeah, I got a little sloppy with my cutter right there and damaged the part. But if you notice that you don't have to be too careful, the more careful you are, the less filling you have to do. But this, again, these are the sides of the tires that that are against the body of the Landmaster. So you're never going to see that. And the difference in the sheen colors are just because I was using a different mold release. I'm trying to find one that works really nice, doesn't leave too much goo in the mold, and releases the part really nice. But now I'm going to check these holes. I might run a drill through the center holes to free them up a little bit, and I'm going to cut some 16th inch wire, because we're going to use the wire to line up the hubs while we glue it together. I have my drill. That's a 16th inch drill. If you want to use a wire size drill, you use a 63 thou drill, which gives you a half a thou oversize for a 16th inch rod. So I got the stainless steel 16th inch rod. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear out these holes. So that's just done by they already have the hole in them. You're not drilling them out, you're just opening them up because they were casted with a 16th inch rod, and the holes do grab onto that. So we're just making a little bit more of a slip fit. But what's cool is the wheel does travel through, which is nice. And just going through here, and I'm just going to drill out each one of these. Let the drill find its home. And made new crosshairs on my my board so I keep things centered in frame. I can remember to stay in frame. I have a large monitor off to my right, which I need to look at more while I do this. But it's tedious. It runs kind of funny. But now we should be able to drop them in if they've been trimmed enough. They should snap right in. Oh, this is one of the bad ones. Put that off to the side. The hubs work for both the right and left, so there's no difference in the hubs. So I'm just pressing that in and watching it pop right out. Press that in. Now I'm going to take the my steel rod here, which this will be part of the axles anyway. And it's not wanting to go all the way through. This is live TV, folks. So let's find out what's going on. Could just, yeah. So when I glue this together, I'm most likely going to be using epoxy and letting the whole thing go together naturally, but giving myself enough time to work on it. So when the hub goes in, it should just slide right in. I'm sure I'll probably end up drilling it out one more time because there's probably going to get glue on the shaft and everything like that. But the only places that we need to fill are around here. There's hardly any step in here, so we're just filling a a groove. You know, maybe once, twice with a sandpaper, and you know, priming it should be good. So I'm gonna get my glue together and start lining these things up for gluing. Okay, well, this is the glue that I like to use because it's a good quality. Other people like to use a less expensive glue, but this works really well, but I just choose to use this. I put my accelerator in a squeeze bottle with a needle tip because it's better than using a aerosol can, spraying it everywhere where you don't want it. And all I'm going to, I've already test fit this, so I know this hub fits in here real nice. I'm just going to put a few drops of glue where I know it's going to seat. I'll probably have one shot at doing this and then it's done because the glue sets up so fast. If you want to do it slower, I would definitely recommend epoxy. But this sits in here real nice, and now I'm just going to go around the edge right here with the accelerator and let that kick it off. I'm using the steel rod as a just an alignment jig because I know it spins really well. And I'll clean these off one more time before I paint. But we have a lot of filling to do. Gotta fill that groove in, but not on the outside. So the CG that I had to do for the tires was a bit interesting. I wanted to be super accurate. Found out that they were Goodyear agricultural tires. Found out how many treads there are around it and tried to match that tread as best I could from the pictures that I got from the web. And I was lucky enough to get pictures in a agricultural yard in England that had brand new tires, and it was just perfect. I could actually see what this looked like. There's probably going to be a little bit of cleanup on the mold line because the mold is split right down the center of there, so you can see some flashing. Most of this is all going to be just taken out with a hobby knife. Should be fine. Shouldn't have to really fill anything on that edge. I'll probably eat my words, but I'm hoping for the best. And I'm just going to just glue the rest of them together. Four more tires. My hand hurts. I'm still healing on the inside, I guess. But damn, that's sore. Oh, keep going. If you notice that sometimes I'll run a bead, sometimes I'll put dots. It doesn't really matter. Kind of like whatever, whichever way you want to do it. We'll get glued together. We got bigger fishes to fry on the rest of the model. We start getting into the deep weeds with that. This is looking real nice though. the glue sets up so fast that you don't have to leave the pins in. Once they're aligned, you know, it's done. I'm working on a piece of cardboard. That's why I have this wood here, because if I just push it into I perforate the cardboard with the pins. So I need something harder to push against. Got 2 more after this. Then we're going to come back and just do a light sanding to see where the high spots and low spots are, and we'll grab the model putty and start puttying. I most likely am going to change the hub mold. I found I had to do a little bit more grinding than I would like to, and that just is a waste of material and a waste of time, and just puts too much dust in the atmosphere. So it's worthwhile, because it's only a single-sided mold. It's worthwhile changing that mold and making sure that we don't have to grind off the 16th inch of material in order to get it to fit. Alright, let me grab a piece of sandpaper.